warm welcome to you too, and to all of our guests who have joined us this Thursday evening. It's always indeed an honor and a privilege to be here co-hosting with yourself, Sylvina, and sometimes Tara, who is on a slight work leave at the moment, and she will join us in the new year. And as you were speaking, what came to mind is the natural disasters that are taking place all over the world. You know, the volcanic eruption that has taken place this week in Iceland. People have been woken up out of their beds, and cities evacuated because sleeping volcanoes are waking up, right? And we're looking at wars in diverse places, different parts of the earth, and the loss of upheaval. And I don't know about you if you're living in Europe, but in waking up in the UK this week, 10 a.m. in the morning looked like 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's very difficult to really inspire yourself when you're in an environment that looks like night all the time. I was looking in Iceland, or looking at Iceland, where they literally have 4 hours of daylight per day. Now, it's nice to visit a place like that, and to experience 4 hours out of 23 hours, 56 minutes and 46 seconds that make up a day, literally 4 hours of daylight, versus in some of these countries in the motherland, you're looking at, 16 to 18 hours of light, and most of it is sunlight. So there is something to actually seeing the sun and feeling the heat of its rays. So today is not just about sharing with you some property information. It really is in a context. And the context is that we're living in a time now of global change. And the global change is forcing each and every one of us to focus on, where do we want to be? When we were teenagers, we didn't have no choice. We had to live with our family members and parents and whatnot. But now some of us are reaching that age, Yes.
Yeah, something went wrong. Tell her to check now. She's got it now.
Odate? Yeah, so tell her to check, please. So with that said, we're actually looking at, through this series that we've been touring through Africa, a major life change for some of us. And as I said, you don't generally just have to pack up everything and leave. You can start by having something small, or even just visiting, traveling to some of these countries and just taking a month out, not as a tourist, but a month out, staying in a community wherein you're considering living, and just see how you acclimatize, right? So today we've got Eduardo, who's come back on, who's going to give us a run through of some of these opportunities in Ghana. And, he has a great grasp of all of these opportunities. So we're going to have a deep dive today, and hopefully we're going to open up the lines for you to ask questions, because today is about the deep dive. This is the last episode on, Ghana. We're closing this out today. So I don't want to tarry too long. I want us to get into the meat of why we're here, and then we will have Q&A and conversation and see where it takes us. Okay, so Eduardo, are you with us?
I am here.
Okay, it's a spiritual injection. Our special guest is here to give us his presentation. So let's take our devices off of mute and let's receive him with appreciation. Thank you, Eduardo. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I hope everyone, your screen share is loading. You should be able to see my screen.
We can.
Okay. So as you said, Akeem, I'm not going to delve too much or spend too much time on the projects as we had seen them last week. But what I will do is dive a bit deeper into what we have available that is for clients to physically see. Possibly starting from the beach projects, which are a great new type of investment that we're seeing in Ghana because they offer significant diversification and there is very, very limited competition in terms of beach resorts in the city or in or around the city. I would consider this close by. It's 90 minutes. It's probably one of the closest beach resorts that you can find to Accra.
Can you enlarge that for us, Eduardo?
Yes, sorry, let me do this and this. Can you see my screen?
Better.
Yeah.
Is it better? Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just come up. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's for the most part, up until about the edge of the 90-minute drive box, it's a dual carriageway. And then it turns into a single carriageway for the last bit. This is the side road, completely paved, which is, for those that have been to Ghana or to Africa in general, is a plus. Not most places outside of the main cities have unpaved roads. Now, this stretch of road here on the top is the main highway, what we call the East-West corridor. It connects you from Ivory Coast all the way to Lagos in Nigeria. So it's a whole stretch of road, dissects Ghana east to west, and also connects you to neighboring countries. Tails is an active beach resort. I don't know if I don't have. I'll show you pictures of the actual beach resort, but this is what phase 2 is going to look like. Let me just zoom out a little bit.
I'm really fancying this resort, Eduardo.
This is, yeah.
Let
me see if I
very beautiful.
Let me just pull them up. So this is what, as soon as these load, the internet's a bit slower today. We have a lot of guests from out of town in Ghana at the moment. And so our bandwidth is significantly reduced these past few days. But this is a new project that is coming up. Phase 1 was a success. They built 32 houses. 32 villas were sold off plan. And now we've launched phase 2, which is 16 houses, about double the size of phase 1, each of them with their own private pool, their own garden. As you can see, the beach is to the right-hand side of the picture, and each row that goes back goes up 3 meters or 9 feet. I will find you what it looks like. So this is what it's going to look like from the back. So as you go further back, you go further up, which means that from each row, you will still have beautiful ocean views. And the houses, if I can show you, if you can see here, the houses are not one behind the other, but they're offset. So this house and this house have a gap in between the front to see the ocean. Same for the ones in the back. The same for these and the ones further back. So from each level, you have beautiful ocean views, beautiful beach views, and views of the resort. Now, this is what it will look like from an aerial view, sorry. On the left-hand side here is where the existing resort is. So you have a conference room, a restaurant, swimming pool, swim-up bar, a regular bar, changing rooms, and then all the way at the back, from here all the way down to the beach, you have what is called phase 1. So it's really an interesting project in the sense that we have both the villas, so like this, 3-bedroom villas, as apartments, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments that are up for sale. Now, in this type A villa, you also have what would normally be either a maid's room or a storage room, which would be down here next to the garage. Most people, because of the size of this, will use it as a storage room. So it's now shown here as furnished, just to give an idea, but it would be most likely used as a storage room for all your beach toys, beach, pool inflatables, pool chairs, etc. When you're away from the weekend, they can be stored down here. Now, as I was mentioning, this is an excellent opportunity because it gives you the flexibility of saying, I want to use it for my own personal use, and so it's off the market. But when you're not using it for yourself, it's also an excellent investment. This down here is what the nightly rates look like. And so even at just occupancy 1 or 1.5 times a week, you're looking at between 15 and 20% returns on your investment.
So that's 500 US per night, or is that for?
Correct. No, per night.
Wow.
Yeah. And the phase 1 is a 2-bedroom house. On a weekday is netting $400 a night.
So if you rented this property successfully, say for 2 years, that would cover the entire.
Yeah. Easily. I mean, 750 times 365 times, let's say 20% of the time it's occupied. It's $54,750 a year. It costs you $285,000. Is 19% returns.
Yeah, that's incredible. From
So,
a rental perspective, that's super high.
Yeah, and this is if you rent it out 20% of the time. If the chances are good, not chances, if the marketing is good and your house is always kept in good shape, etc., you could get 40% of the time. It's $109,000. In 2 years, you've covered your costs.
Tell me, is there a demand for such properties though to cover that type of rent, like for a year, for instance, or 2 years? If I wanted to say, okay, I'm not going to stay in it at all, it's just purely investment, and once I've finished paying for it, then I will, explore my options. What's the appetite for people to pay that kind of money all year long?
So, okay, we have the 2 seasons, the dry season and the rainy season. In the rainy season, of course, it's less likely, or people go to the beach a bit less because, okay, you have the rains, it's a little chillier. Not UK chilly, but
don't rub it in.
Not Ghana hot. So it will drop to like 23, 24 degrees Celsius, which for Ghana is chilly. You don't want to go to the beach with that weather.
You can swim
so you
in
do
there.
you have about 3 months. Exactly.
Yeah, that's doable.
About 3 months of say down period or downtime, off period of season. But then this is sort of compensated for in the November, December, January period. Because now we have people getting the spotlight. There's a lot of people coming into Ghana. Flights are full in and out. So there is that demand. You will have an average, you will have about 100 to 150 people staying in hotels at the moment, of which in phase 1, you don't have 50 houses. So people are overflowing into neighboring resorts and then come to Tills during the day. What Tills does have is it has one of the nicest and cleanest beaches. This is Tills. This is an actual picture of Tills.
Yeah, that's nice. It's clean.
So it's very clean. It's in a bay, so it's not too rough. You can swim in the beach. You can walk on the beach, and the bay goes all the way around till about I think that's the end point that you can walk. You can always cross over and walk onto the other side of the beach in a neighboring town.
Right.
But
None
this
of
is
these
about
beaches, sorry, none of these beaches are private, are they?
no private beach in Ghana.
Okay.
Doesn't I mean okay, there is maybe one because it's in a bay and they own the entire area around it, so it's private, but you cannot block off the beach. Beach is public access to everybody.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Yeah.
if you could show us the front of that house again, I just wanted to ask you a question on the front of the house. Because I just yeah, no, there was another one you showed just there it is. That's not a complete
okay. Yep.
No, the one you just had just before this. No, keep going. Yeah, that one there. That's not the whole entire front door, is it?
This you mean here?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is so what we did. Actually, what I suggested was these are the staircase. So this is the staircase, because initially the staircase was inside the house, but it was kind of blocking your ocean view. So we said take the staircase out and close it. So put a roof on it and put a wall all around it, so you can go from inside the house to the top floor without blocking or without obstructing the view of the ocean when you're inside. Because at the top here, this is your master bedroom.
Okay.
So you would wake up in the morning and you would have a nice staircase here.
Yeah.
I said that's not ideal.
Okay.
So take it outside.
Okay.
And it looks nice. I mean, in terms of separation, of giving that separation to the houses, it looks like you can separate the houses completely.
Right.
And you can see it here. The front door is okay. You see this pergola here?
I can't see your cursor. Yeah, now we can. Or can you see it, Sylvina?
Yes, he's marking it.
Can you see that black?
Okay. Yes, perfect.
That black thing? Yeah, that's the main entrance.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I get it. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Those of you on the line, if you've got questions as we're going along, please just type them in the chat and we'll address them accordingly. Okay, please proceed, Eduardo.
So you have two types of houses. The only difference is one has a basement parking with a storeroom / extra space that you can use as a bedroom, and one has a maid room at the back or storage space at the back and access from the back. All of them have their own private pools, their own garden. The rest of the house is exactly the same.
Right.
And this is a very low end estimate in terms of the returns on your investment, but still compared to what you would be getting in the UK or in other more mature markets, it's still very, very high.
Yeah, incomparable.
And you do have this the demand, because think about it. To be very, very honest, in Ghana there is little that can be done on a weekend that doesn't revolve around the beach. It's not like you're saying, okay, I'm in London and it's raining, I can go to a museum, or I can go to a kids park, or I can go do something with the family, or I can go to a park. In Ghana, it's very limited. There's, I think, 2 museums that you can go to. There's a couple of art galleries, and stuff is growing in that sense as well. There's more and more stuff coming up every day. But it's still not something where you say, okay, I know I have something I can do in the city without ever having to leave during the weekend. So most people tend to go out. Those that can afford it will go to these kind of resorts. Others will go to Kokrobite or to Labadi or other beaches in the vicinity. Most of them will be about hour and a half drive away. With the purchase, what Tills offers, or what Tills' advantage is the fact that they have the land documentation secured, registered, titled, and they give a 50-year lease, or they from 2021, so it's about 48 years, 47 next year, with a renewable feature for another 45. So
Right.
this is something, you're buying into something that already has all the documentation ready, everything in order. They've already built 32 houses. So you have this extra credibility behind it, the safety of the investment, in that you're buying into something that is not going to bite you 3, 4, 5 years down the line. This is something that has been in existence. I think Tills opened in 1990 or 1992, something like that.
Yeah.
So it has quite a long track record of being in existence, of owning the land, etc.
Right.
But it's not the only one. It's not the only project that
Right.
has that is at the beach. What I wanted to show you is also the apartments.
Yeah. Just
Mostly
before you go,
just before
you jump into the apartments, where those houses are concerned, do you have any ballpark figures of maintenance, ground rent, these type of additional or charges that obviously would come with such a prestigious development?
Service charges, maintenance charges basically will be about 300 and something, let's say $400 a month of maintenance.
400 US.
Yes, 400 US, about, if I'm not wrong, about 300 pounds a month.
Right.
Ground rent is so negligible that we don't even take it into consideration.
Okay.
To the extent that we paid ground rent for a project the other day. We paid ground rent for a 23 apartment project. We paid $6,500.
Okay.
It's $280 a year in Accra per apartment.
Okay. So by way of the maintenance, what does it cover? Do you know?
Yes. So it will cover communal cleaning, communal gardening, communal lights, communal water, swimming pool cleaning, daily cleaning and laundry in the house, security, and backup power and backup water maintenance.
It covers laundry.
So because it's a hotel, this will cover also the changing of the bed sheets when it's being run as a hotel. When you're running it, so when you're staying in it yourself, then you will have your own bed sheets, your own linen, etc. So what they do here is, for example, for me, I'm picky. I don't want people that I don't know sleeping on my bed sheets.
Right.
So they will change out the bed sheets and put the resort bed sheets, so it's standard across board for everyone. And they will take care of that laundry and that cleaning. Now,
right.
The cleaning will also be in place when you are using it yourself. But of course, the laundry is a little bit different. Here, most people come up to the beach house or to their beach house on a Friday evening with everything from Accra already packed in the car. Most people here will have some sort of help, whether it's there or that comes from Accra with them, and that will help them to set up the house. So it's very, very common in Accra or in Ghana as a quality of life, also to have this help, living help in the house, that you will obviously support by paying salaries, of course, and then they also kind of become, to an extent, an extended part of the family.
Right.
So what people do, so what I do is I try to give support on food, etc. Because of course Ghana is not a cheap country to live in.
Right.
Accra especially is not a cheap city to live in. The real estate gets you a long way, but the life in general can be quite costly, especially in the last year or two when everything has kind of doubled in price. So, but you do have these advantages that you will not necessarily have outside of Ghana or outside or in Europe, let's say. So that's one of the things that also adds to quality of life here in Ghana.
Right. So the length of lease for this particular development is how long?
So it's 50 years from 2021. So about 48 years left, 47 in July 2024. And then you will have the option to extend for another 45 years. And then
And that's
extend
in the
again after
contract.
that. And yes. Yes,
And
that's all in the contract.
And is it extended at a peppercorn rate, or is the rate quite significant that it will cost you to extend?
You basically pay stamp duty, so you'll pay 1.5% of the value of the property.
To extend?
Actually, of the value of the land. Yes. So the land will, of course, have appreciated in value because of the property built on it, etc. But everybody, so the land is renewed as a whole. So everybody will come together, the developer will negotiate, and then everybody will divvy up the costs. The advantage here is, unlike in many other developments where the developer sells off 100%, in this case here, you will have the villas, but you will also have what is the hotel operations, so which is owned by the developers or the owners of the land, the original owners of the land. And so it's in everybody's interest to keep the cost of the land renewal as low as possible.
Right.
In other cases, you might have developers that say, okay, now it's time to renew the land, pay me double,
Right.
or repay me the value of the property.
Right.
It's never happened. We've never had cases like this, but you never know how people get. And that's one of the main drawbacks of investing in Ghana.
Right.
The length of the lease. It's not like in the UK where you get 120 to 250 years, depending on what you're looking at. You do have some freehold lands still in Ghana, but very, very, very rare and very expensive.
Right. Right. And by way of taxes, obviously, based upon how you are structured as an individual, like if I'm buying property from the UK, then I'll be taxed on that income in the UK, right?
Yes. So that would depend, of course, on what the taxation laws and the dual taxation laws are between the UK and Ghana. But essentially, what happens in Ghana is, if you are buying a property as a foreigner and you have declared that your money has come in, before you can repatriate your funds, you need to prove that you've paid your taxes in Ghana. So if there is the dual taxation law, then I think you are somewhat exempt. You've shown that you've paid taxes already on it in Ghana. But that's a question that I can come back to you with full details on how it works with the UK, because with the UK, it's a little easier. The law is similar between Ghana and the UK.
Right. And obviously the best case scenario is for somebody to purchase these type of properties in a company that's registered offshore, right? And then there's no case to answer, I would have thought.
You will still have to prove that you've paid your taxes, but you wouldn't necessarily have to pay taxes in your home country. So for example, let's say you register a company in, I don't know, you register an offshore company in Dubai.
Yeah.
That money can go back there once you've proven that you've paid your taxes in Ghana without any issues whatsoever. Now there's a lot of other alternatives that we also kind of suggest in Ghana. We did it recently for a client of ours, looking outside. So he was looking at a trust in Mauritius to put all his properties underneath the trust. So it gives him privacy, gives him additional benefits, security on the property. His name doesn't appear, but this is more for people that, are flying way high,
Right.
and they don't want to appear on any paper.
Right.
But you do have these advantages as well. This doesn't limit an individual or any individual to set up a trust or a foundation.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just last thing here on this project is the apartments. So the apartments, 58 square meter units. ground floor, first floor, second floor, starting from $100,000 all the way to 140. I'll give you that conversion right away. At 1.26, 111,000 pounds on the second floor, and 79,000 pounds on the ground floor.
Okay. And
So about let's say
and the
18,000
returns
pounds.
are similar?
A little bit higher. So 100 times 365 times 0.4, 14,000. So about 15%, a little bit lower, sorry, 15%. But these are very, very, very low case estimates. This is what people are paying now at Tills, where the rooms are not of 50, they're not 58 square meter rooms. The current room in Tills is probably this size, the size of the bedroom plus the bathroom.
Right.
And they're getting $100 and they're fully booked every single weekend.
Right.
You cannot get a room in Tills if you don't book on the Monday for the Saturday. If you try and book last minute, it's impossible. So there is definitely the demand.
Very good.
These are
Particularly now, right?
hotcakes.
So this time of year, are the
Particularly
rates
now.
not much higher?
Yes, generally speaking, they will be much higher. Generally speaking, they will be much higher. But so just to give you a bit of an explanation on this, so projected nightly rates here is also to keep the numbers lower, or not necessarily lower, but more realistic and consistent throughout the year. Because okay, you might have that in December you're spending $200 a night, but then you have June, July, August where you're not getting anyone because it's a rainy season, and then the rest of the year is a little bit slower, and so the rates are slightly lower. You'll average out about $100, and it's, or at least from my perspective, it's better to give lower returns and then have it that are still attractive, of course, but then have an upside for the potential investor rather than max out on what the potential returns are, and then the investor only has downsides from what he's looking at, from the calculations that he's doing. So we always try and look at what is your realistic or worst case scenario and work from there. Say, okay, worst case, I get 100. Best case, I'm getting $300 a night. If you get the best case, you're one happy camper and you will come back and want to do more business.
In this time, we hand out tougher stressing. In this time, we should all be investing. Getting knowledge should never be rejected. Every week, did you get the message? Get your ticket today, it don't take a second. Every Thursday, get 7. It's time to make this earth into heaven. So need to worry, there's a blessing. No need for second guessing, it's good spiritual injection. It's a spiritual. What?